Welcome to season 3 of the Hive stream. This is episode number 2. The Hive is brought to you by Esports College and Career Pathways, where our mission is to expand access to opportunities and provide a clear pathway forward to young adults to reach their potential. We focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Huge thank you to our sponsors, Corsair, GameHers, ESTV, and NFL alumni. Hi, I'm your host. That's So Alley Cat. Tonight we have a great program. Every week we'll be either highlighting teams, playing against each other, important topics, or just getting together with players in the community to play fun, friendly games on stream. Tonight I'm joined by my co-hosts Gary and our guest DX. Hey Gary.
Hey, so glad to be back here. It's been a while.
Yes, and
Yeah,
I'm very happy to have you. I
thank
mean, how's
you.
things been? Good.
It's
Okay.
been a short summer, you know? I can't believe
I was
it's
gonna say, what were
already
you doing for summer games?
for summer games.
Yeah, like what did you play throughout the summer, if
Oh, I
anything?
played a lot of Dead by Daylight actually this summer.
Oh, good
Um,
choice.
Played a lot of Apex, played a lot of Overwatch. But Dead by Daylight I've been like really into lately. So, and in 4 days they're updating it again. But yeah, no, I'm so
um,
excited.
yeah, we have our guest tonight again, like I mentioned, Don Xavier, known as DX Dollar. I hope is it
Woo.
Dolar?
It's Dolar. But yeah,
Dolar.
I like Dollar. I'm not mad at it.
Maybe I was thinking about Dollar. Oh, Gary, do you want to read the intro? You go for it.
I totally can if you would like.
Yes.
DX has been a professional advocate of esports, an event producer and community member. He believes in the power and potential of esports to clear college and career pathways for youth of from all walks of life. Now at United Esports, he works directly in the industry to promote and develop the esports and streaming industries. DX loves all types of gaming, from digital to D&D. I love D&D.
hmm
DX has held many high-level and influential positions within the gaming industry. Among them are producer and event coordinator at Orange County Fair and director of marketing and public relations for Aries Software. Well, it's so nice to
Hello.
have you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's nice to talk to people. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I hope it hasn't been that long. But no, it's cool. Welcome. Well, our usually our first question is always the same. How did you become interested in video games?
Oh, it was an inevitability. I came to the United States in the early 80s, and my father was always the kind of person who liked to be at the front of technology. We had a Betamax player and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
He learned that video games were coming from Japan. He didn't really. He is like to collect them, so he gave it to me and my sister, our first Nintendo, and that's the first sentence of that love letter. Like, we haven't really parted ways, me and Nintendo, for a very long time. Um, I just got to. I was very lucky, and I got a regularly scheduled like a delivery of games, thanks to some super cool family members. And
Ooh.
from that age, I just kept playing, started building my own computers and doing all that stuff, and I'm here trying to do stuff.
Nice. Would you say those events and those people sparked your interest from the beginning, or like was it a particular game that like really got you into being like, "Oh, I want to get into this."
That's a great question. I think in the beginning, the passion was lit by just the joy of the medium and the storytelling medium. I
Mhm.
always loved choose your own adventure books as a kid, and then
Mhm.
video games, it felt like the closest that I was gonna get without having to flip pages and like put my fingers in places and stuff. So I, those just the experience, the ability to go through gaming made me go, is this something that's going to last? Is this something that is going to be that I'll be interested for the rest of my life? I'm not really sure, but
Mhm.
but that passion was lit, and it turned into like a raging fire, I guess, in terms of like being the primary direction for my career when I started working with people in the industry. when I started, when a bunch of my friends were at, beginning development, beginning studios, like people that work for Guild Wars or Riot Games in like early 2000s or the late 2000s and stuff. Once I saw my friends were doing it, once I saw that these people were my peers and my contemporaries, and they're making a living off of doing it, I was like, okay, this passion has been with me for so long. Can I do it? Do I have a skill set that can contribute to this industry? And I found my way. I had to find how it fits into the landscape of esports and content streaming and all that work. But I did. And so it may have, in short, like the passion for gaming and the titles gave me that first Tinder. And then once I realized that I just loved our community and the people that were working and bringing games into life, it became the only way forward.
Well, yeah, let's get into some of your experience. What was your initial experience within the gaming community as a young person? And also, we totally forgot to ask, what was your favorite game growing up?
Oh, my favorite what? My dream?
Game, yeah. Like,
Oh,
what was
game.
one of
Oh,
your
yeah.
favorite?
Sorry. Final Fantasy 3 in the United
Ah,
States, Final Fantasy 6 in Japan. That was my second Final Fantasy, but it was a
mhm,
game that made me go, "This is storytelling. This
mhm,
is I've never experienced something so wild and creative and different and I saw myself for the first time in a diverse cast of characters. I finally started to see myself as a version of these people, and that was pivotal for me because never saw myself in games. I saw other people. I was controlling things that were dreams. But when I saw a dancing, cute little Moogle that had an attitude, I was like, "That's me."
mhm,
When I saw a grumpy old grandpa that could wield magic, that was me. So Final
mhm,
Fantasy 6 made me go, gave me a mirror to myself for the first time, and it wasn't necessarily skin tone and color, it was like spirit. But
mhm,
ever since then I'm like, I gotta hunt for this. It's valuable to me, and it all started with that because it was storytelling, it was history making, and then not every game's like that, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But
That's true.
when you find it, and you find that those stories that go, oh man, I'm right in there with you, like that's what I live for. And it started with my love of the Final Fantasy. And it continues to this day. I still play. I've played literally every Final Fantasy, and I'm an active subscriber to Final Fantasy 14. I have a thriving
Oh.
glamour business.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
my
that's
sister loves
cool.
that. But yeah, what was your initial
Yeah.
experience within the gaming community? I guess we could go for that.
Yeah. My first, like when I started meeting other gamers, like in
Mhm,
a video game community setting,
mhm,
was the first time I started doing Smash tournaments at university. I went to Cal State Long
mhm,
Beach here in California, and there were like in every dorm and every if you had like a gaming console, you had Smash Bros. It was like every kid or every honestly 18 to 16-year-old plus that I knew when it came out for like GameCube and stuff, everyone had it. Like we were just playing it forever, ever and ever. And I realized that there was a community and a scene and a competitive environment that I was like, no way. Like people are winning $50 because they get to play a video game and they just gotta beat other people. I'm like, I could make money then. And it's like, but I eventually just met people that were playing and they were really good, and I didn't make any money. I was way worse than I thought I was. But
mhm,
the most important thing was I realized at this small junction of time that it was starting. That if people were convening about a game that had been around for quite a bit already and it was still iterating, so it's not the hottest and freshest game out of the oven, but it's still a good one. I was like, "Oh, this is really cool. There's a community here, and it's not gonna go away." And then I started playing online MMOs like World of Warcraft, but I was playing EverQuest and stuff before that too. And then once I realized you could meet your online friends in real life, and they can be real life friends, I was like, "Whoa! Video games are
mhm,
amazing. Like they do so much more than I thought they did. They're not just entertainment. They're connection. They're a tribe. They're people that actually understand me that I don't have to explain myself. I got lucky. I had games to grow up with, and it was not scary and ostracizing. And then when I got to an age where I could join a community, I found it. So I feel very lucky that I got on the path that I did. I'm kind of a bit intent on making sure people can recognize any paths around them because it was difficult.
Yeah, like speaking of past, like did you ever think like growing up that this would be a career path for you or just like something that you could just play and win money in?
Honestly, it was play and win money because this was not a road. This was not a road to, like, I was thinking about how to do these things, but for me, I didn't even know how to make video games or what it took. I was a kid, so I was like, this is so beyond me that it's never going to be an option. So I just wanted to participate in it. So I like gaming for money, like competitions, not like gambling, but like little tournaments in there. So that kept me kind of into it and like seeing different sides of gaming because I'm always gaming. I'm not always deep into a story or a game, but it's always there. It's always supporting me. But in the beginning, it was just stay in the game. It's still there. It's definitely not an option, and it really only became an option probably in the last 10 years, especially with my skill set. I'm not a software
Yeah.
engineer, and that's difficult for me to find a place for myself. But now that there's an ecosystem, woo, my marketing degree does something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard like trying to figure out cuz like I'm kind of in the same boat where I'm like I'm not a software engineer, but I want to be in the
Hmm.
gaming industry. So I totally
Hmm.
understand that.
um,
Yeah, I, I
yeah.
I fought my way through. Yeah.
No, that's really cool. Like I was gonna say, with like the ecosystem now, it's like there's generally a job for everyone. Essentially, like you could be an accountant, or
Hmm.
I guess I guess the devs would be like the higher ups and stuff. But yeah, it's really cool. What made you want to go into the gaming esports industry, and how did you get your start in the industry?
So the fire never went away, and it was kind of in the
Hmm.
back of my head. It was always just burning, and I was always inching closer to the industry. Like when I was in the military, I was in the Navy, and I was stationed on the East Coast. I went to PAX East. Do you guys know what PAX?
Mhm.
You've heard
Yes.
of PAX, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah, always want to go.
Yeah. I've
yeah,
been
it's
to
it's
East. Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing. It's my people. Like it's also very cold, so but I suffer it. Um,
No
but
matter
so
what date it is, it snows. So it's
yes, it's a curse. No matter, I'm like a California boy born in the Philippines. No, I just turned into a coconut sickle. Um, but I was stationed on the East Coast and in the military, and you live on a barracks and you have nothing to do. So you will go to Boston if you have a chance if you're living in upstate New York. So it's a bit of a drive. So while I was there, I thought my career was in the military. I was a military engineer, so I thought this is my career. So, but if I'm here and there's PAX East games, okay, bring some of my mates from the base, and we just go and play games. And then when I went there and as a convention and seeing the industry that was there, not it wasn't like I've been fortunate enough to live by Anime Expo where it was originally held. And when it first started, it was janky. Most video game conventions when they first start are janky. But you gotta like forgive the jankiness because it's your first year and you have no money. As long as the programming's good. So I had assumed that PAX East was gonna be janky. I was like, oh, it's just gonna be like a couple consoles and like a couple tables and stuff like that. And then I went and it was full production. It was Riot Games had I think this was the first time at PAX East they had this TV Halo. They had just released Varus and Hecarim. If anyone plays League, that dates me. That puts me at a very specific point in time. Um, and I was like, this is real. This set production, these trade shows, this marketing, all these things. Like I couldn't believe it. It was my version of Disneyland, and I love Disneyland. This was like esports nerd Disneyland. And then while I was there, I competed in a League of Legends tournament, like just a casual on there, and me and my friends won.
Oh
And I
wow.
was like, what? It was that moment that I was like, are all my dreams coming true right now? Is a door opening up before me and saying that the world of video games is actually here and it's not janky? Most importantly, I'll actually be able to
Yeah.
get a career. And so that stuck with me, and I knew it was real, and I also knew I had talent for video gaming in general. And then as fate would have it, I ended my contract with the United States Navy, and I became a civilian again. And so I got a second education outside of engineering, and I got marketing. I went from nuclear engineering technology to marketing.
Wow.
Hey, they
Honestly,
go
marketing's
hand
harder.
in hand, you know?
Mhm.
It's just a natural fit. um, Marketing is way harder because it deals with people. People are different.
Mhm.
Uh, Machines are predictable. But yeah, so once I got out of the Navy and I got my civilian life and I got my second education, I said, carve a pathway, get any job that I can that hones my skills in this career. And I want to make sure that I am, when the time comes and esports jobs open up for me, I am ready for it. Like it's
Mhm.
like my mom always told me, like um it's not English, but I'm trying to translate it.
Mhm.
When opportunity comes, are you going to answer naked, or are you going to answer in your like Sunday best? So
Mhm.
it wasn't a matter of like hoping a job opened up for me. It was always a matter of I'm wearing my Sunday best. I just have to. If I'm in any career situation, if I'm working, whether it's just a contractor, whether it's just a small social media start gig, something like that, didn't matter. You wear your Sunday best. You get your start in esports by proving that you have a mastery of a skill. Mastery of a
Mhm.
skill set within the ecosystem, because our industry is now finally big enough to accommodate for niche jobs. Not everyone has to work for EA Blazer. Not everyone has to work for these big box
Mhm.
studios. But if you have a skill that you know you can do, I know how to build a website, get a brand off the ground, and make a message. That's what I know how to do. It didn't
Mhm.
start off with esports. It started off
Mhm.
with a beer shop. I was selling beer in
Wow.
Orange County. Like I worked for restaurants, and then it started off cool. Software as a service online. I'm getting closer. I'm not in
Mhm.
video games yet, but I'm on the internet and I'm
Yes.
in software. So I was like the next opportunity came, and then I got to go into event production for the OC fair. And the OC fair, if anyone that listening that doesn't know, like, yeah, people think the OC fair is janky, and let me affirm solidly that we
Mhm.
work very hard. We work very hard at the OC fair to have a high production value, and that taught me.
Mhm.
That taught me I cut my teeth in one of the most difficult situations in terms of learning event management, and
Mhm.
it taught me how to produce events. And then an esports event made it to the OC fair. It was IBP Masters made by Power Computers. I think many people know about them. They've been supporting esports and Twitch streamer community forever. I love it. I've loved everyone on that team since 2013. Oh Lord. um, but they came and they did a CS:GO tournament, which was feeding into the IEM Masters Katowice. So I'm like, this is a feeder tournament, which goes into a big tournament. Finally, I'm here. Finally, I have the skill set. Finally, I have the right client. So when that event came on, I poured everything in. I made sure that every detail was focused on, every dot I was
Mhm.
dotted and T's were crossed. I polished it, and I made sure that I loved it. I made sure that it was still fun and passionate. And then from that moment, when I finally crossed that first barrier, I was in. I met the people that I needed to meet, and then I was able to continue to produce. If you can produce or be involved in one project, that is for people that are
Mhm.
getting involved in esports. That's oftentimes
Mhm.
all you need. You need to
Mhm.
prove you can do a job for a lot of other people, and then when someone needs you to do your job for them, and then they are in the esports industry or one of the adjacent industries, Sunday best, baby. Turn it on, look good, floss, put some jojoba and argan oil in your hair. Do whatever you need to do to make sure that you have the proper self-care and motivation to work your best and hardest. Because every time I worked with someone, my work stood for me. There was no doubt that I could do what I could do. And then be a kind person and don't burn bridges.
Yes.
That's
That's so
right, like,
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right. I feel like
I
we've all
mean,
worked with people like that who just like, you don't think I'm gonna be around? Why are you so nasty?
Yeah, because like jobs change, right? And like I think people kind of forget that we kind of, especially in the gaming industry, we usually just move around. It's just like it's a big
Exactly.
industry, but it's also very small at the same time.
Yeah. We
And
shuffle around.
especially with PR and marketing.
Hmm. We'll
Yeah.
So,
run into
and if you don't,
we'll run into each other somewhere at some convention or E3 or PAX or it doesn't
yeah.
even matter.
And it's so funny you have a story about PAX East. I think that was like my first like con that I went to. I think it was like around
Oh,
2016. And I,
yeah.
as a streamer, just going to that con, it like, I just felt like my mind, like going down the escalator and just seeing like the big opening was just something like,
All
it kind of blew
those.
my mind. It was like,
Yeah.
why are there so many people here? Now that I think about it,
Mhm.
I'm like, oh no. It's the
Yeah.
COVID, post COVID, we think about crowds differently. But no, like going down those escalators in Boston is like, if you've never been to a convention, that's just, and it's funny because I went to Comic Con in New York, but it was
Mhm.
Oh
just
my
so different
gosh.
because everything in PAX is just games, and it
Uh,
was cool. They had like production teams, there was like multiple like media centers and things like that.
mhm.
And like it gave you the perspective of like, hey, there's like a space for you here, and it was really easy
Yes.
to network there as well. And I enjoyed it. So like when you were saying that story, I was like, oh my God, I know that feeling because I also experienced that feeling going.
Yeah. It's magical.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really magical when you get your community together and
Hmm.
we're doing what we do and it's like there is a social contract that this is a place for us and we are here to protect each other and
Yes.
this is our community. And when that social contract exists and you know that it's there, yeah, I feel like it's like we can do anything. We can be anything. I for the first time in my life I did a group cosplay at PAX East. And I'd never cosplayed before because there's so many amazing cosplayers. I'm like, I don't know what Warbler is. I can barely pronounce it. So I had to do my friends were like, we're gonna do a cosplay at PAX East. But I was like, I don't know. But they're like, you had so much fun there. Weren't people nice? Wasn't everyone accommodating? And I was like, well, that was one time. But it was because that moment happened once. I was able to do it, and I fell in love with all the PAXs. I'm actually very fortunate. I'll be at PAX West for work next week. Actually,
Nice.
yeah, I
Yeah,
stuck around. I made it, guys.
yeah, I was very I think I've been to East and West. The only one I
Mhm.
didn't go to at the time was South. But I enjoyed West as well. West Seattle was actually really cool, especially for gamers. I think I like
Mhm.
I'm one of those picky people because I'm in New York and I like just I love going out and just
Yeah.
having to order food at 1 a.m. and be able to do that and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like really weird when I go to different cities. I'm like, I don't like it here.
Yeah.
But
I
I
can't get a
actually
slice
enjoyed
of pie at
Seattle.
2 a.m. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I actually like Seattle because they had like this really cool like they had like this gaming like place that just served food and everything. You could just go pick up a board game and play with your friends. I forgot what it was called, but I really
Yeah,
enjoyed my time and we had fun.
I think
And
it's
I got
called
to
the
visit
Mox
like the
Cafe.
oh yeah, that is what it's called. And then I
I've been
actually
there
got to
too.
visit the
Sorry.
Pokemon Center out there and all that stuff. So it was really cool. It was like the Pokemon Company. I actually got to go and
Yeah.
visit because we met somebody who worked there. But yeah, PAX is
Nice.
amazing. Seriously,
Never
I
been
just
to a
realized
gaming
that was all.
convention.
You
Oh,
should. I
it's
recommend, and I
yeah.
I need
especially
to.
recommend with friends. I don't know about now, but back then I think one of the after the PAX experience, I think I came back to my stream and like, okay, you all have to go to like a con and just experience it. Now I kind of understand people being a little bit more reluctant, but yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
it's it's an experience. And then now we have like I feel like even post COVID, we have Zoom events that are out there for the gaming community. So like things like that are really cool. And then we have like Discord
Mhm.
communities. So there's ways to always connect in the gaming community. But yeah, I think I don't know I don't even know how I feel about cons now myself. But yeah, I would definitely recommend if safety precautions and things.
I actually do events in hospitality now as the world is
Mhm.
opening up. So it's a really big deal for me to make sure that people understand the precautions in place and what
Mhm.
people are doing to bring us back together. One of the things that I saw, like just being nostalgic about PAX is the best. Like it's the best. Like I'm like looking around my room of like, is there something that I had from PAX that I remember? I'm like, yeah, like I see artwork and stuff, and like nowadays, post COVID, and as people are remembering what it was, or beginning to remember what it was like in these big communities, I think nowadays the most important thing that we can be doing is giving people space to express themselves and the level of safety they want to and
Yes.
that they want to exhibit, because some people are more comfortable and some people are not, and like that's a spectrum, and I understand that. I got days where I'm like and then I got days where I'm like, oh, hugs, I love you. But for everyone, I think, especially in the events and hospitality, it's setting a really good baseline that the most important thing is we have to protect our community. We are esports, we are streaming, we are gaming, and we share controllers. We share things like that. And that's something that we need to uphold as a community. It needs to be a community value that we take care of each other, and whether or not someone is or is not doing things that are on the same protective level as you, understand that we built these rules together. And if you want to, be more precautious, be so, but also give space and opportunities for people to connect in the ways they want. And as someone who manages these events, it's a balance, but it's about being kind to knowing that some people are ready for it and some people need some
Or
time. And
not, yeah.
yeah, and I totally get it, because I'm somewhere in the middle. Like, for me, like, I'll be fully like, number one, I look like a ninja when I wear a mask, so I wear them for fun. Like, I look when I wear a mask, I feel like I look how I want to look. It's like the best cosplay ever. Like, I have my long hair and I have a mask. I'm like, cool. I just have a red scarf and I'm Strider Hiryu. Like, I'm Ninja Gaiden. Like, I'm fine. I got
There you
lucky that I
go.
have a look that benefits having a mask on.
Mask, yeah. No, but
Same
I
way, I'm
definitely
like,
agree.
yeah, I'm the same way. I'm just like, oh, I just had to worry about like from my nose up. Like I could just do makeup right there and that's it. That's all I had to worry about.
Just wing the
It's
eyeliner
half.
and keep it
Yeah, yeah.
moving. Yeah.
It's half the work. Uh
Wow. No, but
well,
seriously, that was I'm glad you talked about, because I literally, somebody was asking me about going to a con this week, and I was just like, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I want to go, but then I'm like, do I want to go that bad? So I definitely feel like if you are gonna partake, just give people that respect of like safety and things like that. I think that's very important. And I feel like we need to talk about that more in the gaming culture, because I feel like that would get us closer to what we actually want, which is like just a fun experience and a fun event. So that's really cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gary, do you have know where we are in questions? Usually you're good.
yes, I
We're having
do. Well,
fun.
Okay,
so
there you go.
speaking of community and everything, how has the gaming industry and community changed in the years that you've been active? I know you said that the esports industry, like, kind of, it didn't really pose as an option until like 10 years ago. So how has
Mhm.
that changed since then?
I think fundamentally the community has stayed the same. I think to talk about one thing that keeps us consistent is, it's, for what I understand and what I know of the community, what I've experienced, it's about the title and the stories that are being told. And there's always drama in any industry, but when a title comes along like The Last of Us, when a title comes along like Journey, which gets everyone talking again and talking to each other, that stayed the same. And I think that saved us, because some of the stuff that has fundamentally also changed about the industry is the amount of egos and the amount of people that are coming into the industry and pretending like they run them, and not respecting the footsteps and the paths people took to produce these events, and coming in with lots of money and doing things and trying to change conversations that I honestly don't think they understand. Like, well, at the heart of our industry and our community is this passion for communal storytelling and this medium and everything that goes to support it. The things that I'm seeing change, that I want to bring awareness to, especially as more people enter the professional space, that it's not being about a gamer. It's not about being a certain tier of nerd cred when you're working in the game industry. It's not judging people by how many years they've had in the industry. It's about
Okay.
understanding that each person here has a love of this and wants to take whatever skill set they have into it. There are some people, when they start businesses, and they enter the industry with tons of foreign investment or venture capital and angel investment, and they start treating people like they're not these people, that they're not hiring passionate people that want to do their best in their field. They look for, and what I've seen is they're looking for people that will get what they need done to do the thing to hit the benchmarks for what the money people say. And
Yeah.
I'm going to go on record to say that there are plenty of evidence of small studios that hired passionate studios that got passionate professionals that got acquired by larger organizations that did not know the gaming space, and now what have they? I'm not going to name names, but I'm going to make very clear that certain people have fallen from grace, and it's because the people that are at the top of the industry are not part of the culture. They do not know where it came from. They came from an adjacent industry like broadcasting. They came or pure entertainment, and they're going in here trying to make money off. Yes, there is lots of money to be made in this industry. That's why we're all in it. That's why we're trying to do it. But don't squeeze people that you don't know. It's like you can't say those words. You don't know us. And that's what's changed about the industry, because in the beginning, everyone was fighting for their title. The scrap, like one of my, I'll be just, I was so lucky to meet a bunch of Riot people super early in my life. Made friends with them at a PAX East, at the first ever PAX East bar crawl. Riot was was and I still think is an amazing studio. But like they had an actual bar crawl at PAX East in South Boston. Woo! I made friends. But what was cool was everyone was scrappy and no one knew if this was going to survive. So the people that were there were super passionate, and they were giving what they needed to give to make products come alive and have have vibrancy and be a part of this industry. Now it feels like a lot of people have entered because it is a reasonable space to get a job, and that's good. But I feel like a lot of the people who have passion for this, who are doing these things, that they're not getting the recognition they deserve for being in the culture and representing the culture and continuing to do the work, regardless of being passed over. I know people that deserve C-level positions in scholastic esports and directors of universities, and they are women and they are people of color and influence, and they're not getting the job. I've seen it. I've seen the people who are super qualified for this job, and I see who they're up against. And some of these director positions go to people that just can make money. And I've been around long enough, and people can't say they don't know me. And I've seen things. I've been to the after parties. I've seen things. People talk, but I'm going to be respectful and say, like, I know my space in it, and I'm going to try to do what I need to do. But the changes are very clear. To old developers to some of the new ones. That's what I've got. Sorry, I get hot about industry talk.
I mean, that leads us into the next question. What would you say is the best and worst part of the gaming culture?
The best part, though, is at our best, we are everything we are the Final Fantasy 12, Final Fantasy 6 ensemble cast. At our best, we are the entire Apex Legend initial roster. We are a diverse, powerful, interesting, creative, intricate, sophisticated, like multinational, multi-everything, wide perspective group of people that know how to come together and beat a boss. That's what's different from gamers and everyone else. We know that we have our difference, but the core of what we do as gamers is cooperative victory. That's what I love the most. And there is individual combat, which I also love and I'm not mad at. But what makes me go, this is the best part of who we are, is that what is ingrained in our culture is the thing that will keep us alive. If we can learn to recognize victory cooperatively and create situations where everyone wins, and it's not this crab game where everyone's pulling each other down. If we do the opposite and we start and truly live the mantra of lifting people up in the industry, and if I have this job, I'm going to be looking for these types of people that may be in disenfranchised or underserved communities, and I'm going to try to give them that job. Not because it's not like favoritism. It's it's awareness that I don't think I need this other voice in the industry. I already have so much of this voice. I would like this, and finding a way to frame diversity as truly beneficial to creating perspective. So at our best, we are the Power Rangers. We are that is who we are at our best. At our worst, we are
Yes.
trolls and sharks, and I think we all know this. I think all of
Mhm.
us have all seen what it is. Like just
Mhm.
try to wear a tank top on a Twitch stream. You'll get all sorts of comments. This is a tank top. I'm not even being thirsty. This is a tank. So there at our worst, our immaturities come out. As a
Yeah.
gaming community, at our worst, we don't exhibit control and wisdom. We devolve into whatever I turn into. I turn into a banshee. I don't know. Everyone has it though, but it's about how much do we exhibit control over our choices and the words that we. So at our worst, I think it's still the same. That nothing new has come from that, but I think if we have to recognize that we devolve to a place of immaturity, then it's up to us to be as cognizant as we can to
Mhm.
try not to go that direction. But the truth also is that we have to forgive each other for certain things because people get hot. And not everything can just be brushed away and forgiven. But I think our community also needs to be a little kinder to each other when someone does make an honest mistake. I have made honest mistakes before, and I haven't been canceled or anything, but it's more like I've made honest mistakes and I have welcomed conversations regarding my actions and why I did them. But if people are kind to each other, then we can have conversations. But if people are different and then you just get mad at them and for being trolls, I'm like you're in the gamer community, man. They're like we all can devolve into that. That's not them. It's not a them. Being a troll is an us problem. Being
Mhm.
a troll is not a them problem. It is what do we turn into? What do we allow in our community? What standards do we hold for each other? And how do we actually form this social contract amongst gamers?
It's true.
Mhm.
Now that you have been in a very high level position within game, what advice would you give to a young gamer whose dream is of being a leader in this space?
I think the most important thing is to look at your love and passion for gaming and gaming community and do not treat it like the thing you're trying to do. Do not try
Mhm.
to do gaming. Do not try to get the education for gaming. Gaming must be your North Star. Gaming
Mhm.
must be the thing that guides you in all the choices in your career. Because if you want to get into gaming and you have a bachelor's degree in computer science and you've made a couple websites, it's gonna be tough. You're gonna need to cut your teeth. You cannot expect yourselves to be one of the superstars that gets picked up into a big studio right away. All my friends that have been lead devs for big games, they all start. I know exactly where they started. We started together at the bottom rung of things, and they went up and they did their things, and I went up and started producing my events, and they started making games. We,
Yeah.
if you treat it like I need to do games for a living, you are gonna be constantly in a state of duress. You're gonna be like, oh, I have to work for a new studio. What's the next game? What am I doing? Sometimes you do QA for a game, and then you go to recruiting for HR because you get a better job. Doesn't mean you're not going to be able to go back to the gaming space. Level up in another industry adjacent to gaming. Become that
Mhm.
specialist,
Mhm.
become that manager and director, and then get poached back. That's what honestly that happened to me.
Mhm.
I wasn't just
Okay.
lucky that someone found me. I was honing my craft. I was, I don't know, cognizant that it was a thing, like since that
Mhm.
PAX East when I was in the Navy, I'm like, that's how I say it is hone your craft. Like that's how you get into this industry and don't expect to be in it all the time. Life is
Mhm.
cycles. If you need to pick up a better job so that way you get better benefits so you can have kids and or move to a town you want to, that may be the right choice for now. But stay good, stay accurate, stay well trained because maybe just maybe gaming will expand to a place near you and then you enter it. You're not just otherwise you're people have done it. You're just going to be fighting your way through. going from studio to studio. Once every game dies, like that's just a fact. Every game dies. But
Yeah.
if you want to survive, be flexible and remember, if gaming is your North Star and is always your North Star, you will never lose sight of it. You may be off in the distance for a while. You may be on vacation or like a sabbatical. But if it is your North Star and and the road opens and the trail opens to you, then you will take it. You will know that it is for you, because that consistency of knowing and loving something should be what guides us. Yeah. So don't treat it like an object or a goal. Treat it as your spiritual center. And honestly, you won't be disappointed. My job is super duper hard. I really, really like my job. And I
Yeah.
can't fight that.
Network.
I can't fight that.
Yeah.
I complain. I even complain. I get it. I complain. But I was like, well, I don't want another job. Sorry. I don't want
Yeah,
another
and I
job.
would say also keep up with like the folks within the industry. Like if you leave, you could still network and stay
Yeah.
For
posted with
sure.
Make
things
friends.
that are happening.
Like,
Yeah, keep friends. I feel like that's the best thing about the gaming industry is that it's easy to keep friends within the industry because there's always like before or whatever. But there's usually like an event or something that you could go to, and they even have like industry Zoom calls and stuff. So if you just want to
yeah.
hang around and talk, so that's pretty cool.
And there's so much to talk about, which I think is the coolest thing. Is it's really easy to go like talk about games, and all of a sudden you have a conversation. You can talk about characters. You can talk about favorite games. You can be like, "Oh, this reminds me of something." And oftentimes, I feel like it's really easy for people to, like just talk about anything within the gaming space, and people are enthusiastic. If anyone brings up anything about old school gaming, retro gaming, or MMOs, my ears perk up, and I'm like, "Sure, I'm a part of this conversation now." Whether you like it or not, I'm sorry, but this is fun for me.
No,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Well, speaking about like honing your craft and leveling up and everything, do you think a bachelor's degree is needed to get into the gaming industry?
Ooh, spicy take time. This is an excellent question, and I really do. I think this is a super good conversation to be having, especially on this platform,
Mhm,
because the conversation is college and career pathways, right? So, what's the validity
mhm,
of college, especially amidst a lot of conversation? People are saying, "Is it even worth it?" So,
right.
the conversation, if we take it from a practical standpoint and an ideological standpoint, I think there's two different answers. So
Mm.
me, I think, oh, I can't believe it, but I'm leaning practical. This is not me normally. This is
Mhm,
not me normally, but there wasn't a way for me before, so I went very impractical. I made my own way, right? But here's the thing, people people take their machete and hack away a trail for a reason, because people want to go back down this road without the same amount of effort. So I say that you need to know what's part of the esports industry you want to work with, and you need to know the values of that vertical. You need to know the values of that industry. If you are in marketing, that piece of paper opens a door but means nothing. You have a
Mhm.
degree in marketing, you can't show me a social media profile or at least a portfolio of marketing exercises, sales sheets, websites. Nothing. I don't care.
mhm,
School gives you the opportunity to create a profile and to create a
Mhm.
portfolio under the guise of an art teacher. So there
mhm,
is a benefit, because you make your own portfolio. It doesn't matter how good you are. There's a certain lack of polish that comes with that kind of grassroots method. A lot of
mhm,
times, uh, design studios, they know how to get their students jobs. I went to Cal State Long Beach. The graphic design program is incredibly competitive, but it produces
mhm,
some of the best graphic designers in the industry, and the school helps them get to that. Do you need to be a great artist with a formal education to be an amazing graphic designer? No way, not even close. But do you want to polish up your offering so that it's a little brighter and shinier so people might pay attention to you? That could be it. That could be a pathway. But if it is not, because whether it's financially inhibitive, whether it's geographically inhibitive, whether you are, a person of other ableness and things like that, then I think it's important to make sure that you can document your pathway of your own personal training and experience, because that may be valuable. but there is something to be said to do what you're supposed to be doing under the supervision of qualified professionals. That's why if you're going to go to school for game design, look at the game designer professors. Look at what
Mm.
studios they work for. If you're going to go for digital marketing, make sure that they're doing digital marketing. If you're going to business administration, or there's esports business administration at UCI, I think something close. I think it's esports project management. I was going to be an
Yeah.
adjunct professor there. um, but so you have to know where they come from, and if they come from a place, if you're going to academia, and your professors come from a place that you understand and respect, then I believe if you can gather the resources and attain those resources, then go, please get a formal education, because if anything, it
Yeah.
also prolongs fun period for a little bit of time, because once you get that piece of paper, it's no more guaranteed fun period. Everyone's so serious once you hit like 24. Boo. so so
It's
if you can
true.
be a super senior and you're not gonna not incur too much financial strain, then live it. No one ever says, oh, I wish I didn't have more fun at university. I'm sorry, it's true. I was able to do both at the same time. I was able to get good grades and do both, and it is possible. And by good grades, I mean like flat threes, baby. That's good to me.
No, that's really good. What is one thing that you would like to see change in the game industry?
I would like the gaming industry to stop talking about the superficial symptoms of what the toxic culture of gaming is producing. People talk
Mm.
about the symptoms. People talk about people talking nasty, people being salty. People talk about expressing violence towards women, people of minority. People talk about still saying the words gay in gaming. We talk about that thing. We're talking about you have a flu, but you're sneezing and your face is red. You can talk about that all day. It won't do anything to address your flu. And
Mhm.
people, whether it's Gamergate, whether it's all these things about canceling people that are game developers, not separating the art from the artist, too much art in the artist, all of these things, all of this whirlpool of nonsense comes from a specific lack of a social contract in our community. It is one where we look to each other and say we protect each other because we are gamers. You can't put this on paper, you can't write it down, but you can enforce it through cultural behaviors. You can
Mhm.
enforce it to see who are the popular streamers. Are they the kind streamers that are good-hearted and fun entertainment? Yeah. Are they the kind people who are a little spicy and a little different? Sure. Are they people who are abusive and only cater to a certain type of demographic of aggression? Let us be aware of that when where we are putting our attention, where we are funneling our resources. If there's
Mhm.
anything we need to learn and we need to talk about, it is how come we are not talking to each other as a community to keep ourselves safe and our industry growing and our community happy. Otherwise, we're going
Yeah.
to end up like every other specialty group. Whether you're in a political specialty group, whether you're an athletic specialty group, whether you're in a niche group, it does not matter. Any Abraham Lincoln, a house divided cannot stand. We are all
Mhm.
gamers. If people are, if there is still an aura of that it's okay to immediately say something to a woman just because she's on stream, that, like, who asked you? Like, that needs to be our
Yeah.
common answer. Is like, who
Yeah.
asked you? No one needs that. And
Yeah.
but it can't just be the people who are suffering from it. It needs to be a
Right.
cross cultural value. We need to raise that
Mhm.
bar and say we do not stand for that nonsense, because when we stand for that nonsense, games get worse, the communities get worse. We need to teach the children to be fun, like, teammates and people that you can cooperate. Like, my nephew and niece are 10 and 7. I
Mhm.
I am doing my best to teach them about sportsmanship and cooperation, but that's the best I can do, because if we don't, this is gaming is an industry that naturally attracts younger people. So
Yeah.
there is a certain period of time where the people that get the most like it or not, you're Jon Snow. You don't want to be
Mhm.
king? Too bad, you were chosen. You're in this industry, you're in Twitch, you are a game developer, you are popular, your voice has weight. It is not that, and you should be aware of that, because not respecting your own power is the same thing as disrespecting. Because if you say things flippantly and start changing the culture around, who knows what other people are going to say? Who knows who are going to follow you? So we need to talk about that with each other. We need to take the big voices and we need to create harmony. This needs to be Sister Act 2 and not World War Z. We need to sing in
Honestly.
harmony with each other. We need to be a melange. Like it always is better when it is a mix of all the things that we love. If it wasn't a mix of these things, of the hyper traditionalist and hyper progressive in gaming, whether it's VR, whether it's NFT blockchain games, whether
Oh
it's
God.
classic gaming, I get that there's conversations everywhere, but if we cannot talk about things civilly, then we're just going to be, I'm sorry, we're gonna label ourselves from
Mhm,
those who view us as corrosive, as insecure, and as
mhm,
an industry that is doomed to fail. Right now, we don't have that reputation, but if we keep letting certain behaviors and cultural values go unaddressed and just flitted away as if they were not important, we can collapse. Every great empire can collapse. It's the truth. Gamers need to just be aware of what's really possible. That's why we're here. The show about college and career pathways. There's
mhm.
there's
Yeah.
literally dozens of us that have this career. So
Yeah,
we want to bring it up to everyone else, and we want to keep making it possible and giving people
Yeah.
some sort of hope at least. Oh,
honestly. Um,
um
oh,
oh.
go ahead. I was gonna say we're gonna wrap it up, but go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, I just had two quick questions real quick.
Yes.
Um because as you mentioned or in your bio that you love all types of gaming from digital to D&D. I just wanted
mhm.
to ask you about like what your thoughts on the new resurgence of like D&D and everything, and how some people are trying to gatekeep. Like in the
Mhm.
gaming industry, people like to gatekeep. In D&D,
Yep,
people like to gatekeep. Uh
it's very real. Yep.
yeah, I just wanted your opinion on the gatekeepiness going on.
I think, as someone who has been playing since second edition, I have been playing for a very, very long time. I know what THACO and 2-hit armor class 0 is. I I understand. Perhaps I think I understand one potential reasoning that someone might use to be a gatekeeper. It's not a good one. It's not a good one. It's definitely not a good one. But what I see is the gatekeeping that is happening is more of a it's that people don't want people to come in and get loosey goosey with the thing they've been all. It's just people are afraid of what a new influx of new players is going to do to their community, and they get scared, and they start, and it manifests not necessarily in like pushing people away overtly, but it manifests as, these are my rules, we play it like this way, and it's not healthy. It's super not healthy for the growth of something we've been waiting for like we've been waiting for to talk about Dungeons and Dragons on a subway with someone. Are you kidding? Like I've that's been the dream. I don't have to hide my books. I can say fifth edition and people can actually kind of put it together. So ga- gatekeeping is always so detrimental to our society, but I think in this case it's happening because it's usually what I found, the gatekeeping type of community or type of personality is someone who's played a while and plays a very strict rule set. They don't. They're not homebrew Sally like me. They're not super flexible because if you're super flexible as a DM, it shows in your personality. Like, we're okay. Like, sure, okay, makes enough sense. You roll 18, sure, why not? So I just wish people could hear that and go, you can still play the game that you want to play, and other people can play the game that they want to play.
Yeah.
Most importantly, maybe find a game that you both like to play, and then you'll figure something else out. Like, that's what D&D does. That's what gaming does, is it creates conversations where you have to come together for some sort of cooperative victory. And with the resurgence of D&D and the gatekeeping, like that kind of action, I think it's just another reminder that we have to remember that things scare us. Things are scary. I get it. New people,
Scary for
I get it.
everyone.
I'm so scared of new people, But I also remember some of the best people, my best friends, were new people once, right? If you
Mhm.
have to give people a shot, and we're best friends
Mhm.
because we met in gaming communities. So it's a certain risk reward being here amongst our peers. But personally, I like it. Gaming community is spicier than most. I like a good hot take, and people can usually articulate if you
Yeah.
ask them to. So it's nice. So I like my community and I'm gonna protect it. So that's why I'm here.
Nice. And then my
Um,
last super quick
oh,
question
Okay,
is
sorry, I talked a lot.
so sorry. What's your favorite class? That's
Oh, Bard, easy, not a question.
of course,
Bard,
yeah.
yeah,
It's just the
Bard's
uh,
best.
magical secrets. Excuse me, I can steal any spell from and 4 spells from anyone's book, so I can top myself off of whatever nonsense I want to do as a bard. Yeah, and by nonsense, I mean you can steal those spells and just it becomes. I love it. It becomes a completely different game once you hit like level 14 as a bard. You're just like you're whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
oh, well, thank you. Okay, so this is the last words or advice you can say to our audience, and then you can tell them where to find you, and then we're gonna wrap up.
Yeah. So this is to those out there that are doesn't matter what age you are, doesn't matter where you are in your life. If you're looking to be a
Mhm,
part of the esports industry, my advice that I've given is as straightforward as can be. This is a
mhm,
video game. Choose your weapon. Choose your
mhm,
weapon. Hone that weapon. Keep it sharp. You have levels every time you go to a job, whether you last a year in it or whether you go to an adjacent industry. Be proud of that. Track that. Make sure you understand what your skills are, and don't take your own experience for granted. I know a lot of people that don't give themselves enough credit for doing something because they're trying to be humble. There's a difference between humble and there's a difference between foolishness and avoiding your own success. So keep your axe sharp and be someone. If you want to be in the industry, be yourself and be that
mhm.
version of yourself in it. Because this is the space where you want to wear a wizard hat to work. This is the best shot. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Like there can be very few other industries where that might fly. So treat that as some sort of motivation. Is the industry is about the formalization as well as the expression and progress of play and what that means to us as storytellers and as a community. If you want to be a part of this industry, play, be playful, but also be a professional. Also have a skill set and also take care of your community. Without each other, we got nothing. Without each other, we're going to be thrown back in the basement and people are going to make fun of us. You
Oh
know,
no.
we have to stand together and say, we don't, we like what we like, and there's plenty of us. And we don't need anyone else. We would like everyone else, but we're okay.
Well, where can anyone find you? Are you on social media and you can
Oh, I
find you?
am, but I'm like it's all personal, private stuff. If you're
Oh,
interested,
okay.
I yeah, I like I represent a brand called Core Meltdown. We are an esports. We're esports hospitality brand, but we're for a much older demographic. If you're older and you're watching though, and you're looking for fun esports watch parties, Core Meltdown with a K. Yeah.
Oh,
But
nice.
yeah, So that's pretty much it. I on social, but I work with social so much, I have to kind of keep myself siloed.
Gotcha.
Well, that's it for tonight. We ran a little bit. Well, we're at 9. It's fine. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this week. Thank
Yeah.
you, DX. We enjoyed having you on stream and also for supporting us. Thank you so much for all your insight and just knowledge. We want to thank our partners, ESTV, NFL Alumni, Corsair, and GameHers. Without their support, we would not be able to bring our weekly show. We also want to thank our producer, Nick, and our moderators, Catherine and Allison. Next week, we will be hosting the Frost Freeze tournament with our partners, Frost Esports. To stay updated on upcoming topics and what we are working on next, follow our social media. You can find us everywhere at Esports CCP. We want to wish all the gamers who already started school have a great year and game on. And I can't wait to have you back, DX. I'm sure you're going to be coming back.
This is
And
fun. Thank you for having me. It was great
yeah,
talking. I really had fun.
Thanks for
yes, the
coming.
time kind of flew by. And thank you to
Yeah.
Gary as well for coming back to co-host. I'm sure you'll be back
Thank
as
you.
well. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.